There's like a saying, man is not gonna do anything until he has to. Something like that.
That's not a guy I want to be around.
Right.
Too little, too
but
late.
But like when he has to, he'll do anything.
That's the part about metaphysics that I really like so much, is that it's an individual journey. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely the opposite of what a cult is, because a cult, in my opinion, is somebody else asking you to buy in and support all of their philosophies, regardless of your needs, wants, curiosities. It's like, no, operate within these rules. Metaphysics is about you are your own rules, not like just this wild child, but a little bit. Spiritually wild. Why not? We talked about you can think poorly or you can think richly. I think the denial of work is to know what you're pulled towards, but to do nothing about it. So that part of that faith without the work, I get it. That some people make art because they have to. Others, it's a business, others it's something else. But if you're pulled towards something, you're pulled towards something. And then there's a lot of people who don't know what they're pulled towards because they don't know what it feels like. They expect this big yank, and it's like a passion. A passion is discovered and kind of nourished, People are saying, well, I gardened for a little while, I didn't know I would love it so much, and then it begins this momentum. And so I think if I come back to Pasha about the thoughts things, is if it builds a momentum, that momentum may begin to shift something that's locked down inside that says making money is hard. There's other people that they just have such a pleasure in what they're doing. The money's not first. It can nip them later, but I've watched these guys in different parts of the world, and I'm like, how are you so happy without money? And their house is like made of crates, and I'm like, man, they're tuned into something else.
Yeah.
I was taught that happiness is associated with some of these things, some of these environments, time and freedom, and I'm like, wow,
Do you feel like you've been freed from that? Or do you still think that way?
No, it's a journey. The thing is I'm actively participating in it, and I'm actively looking to catch myself in the moments that I get kind of trapped in myself.
When I just got to the United States and I started working, there was a girl, been going to church a lot, and we clicked, and we became really good friends. And for my birthday, she got me Bible in Russian.
So let me back up. The girl that gave you the Bible, was she really beautiful?
Yes.
Okay. And if she had said, read this and I'll give you a kiss, would you have at least read some of it?
Probably.
Okay, see? So there's incentive.
Right.
Where I'm going is fear. Fear is an incentive to a lot of people to study certain religions, to avoid certain pains. So they're incentivized to read something or memorize something. Now, there's a point at which it clicks for a lot of people, and they're like, I don't need any incentive. I'm my own incentive. But that's why I made the joke with the pretty girl. There would have been, I told the story before, I was allergic to cats until I dated this really beautiful girl that had 3 cats. I'm like, I got over it, right?
Yeah.
How? I don't know. But it figured itself out. These bushes give flowers as incentive for pollination. I'm incentivized to do a lot of things. I'm incentivized to do what I can to make sure Katya feels stable and safe. And these are just things that I sign on to without thinking about it, because I care about someone. If I was going to behave like a dill, well, the transactional response was, bye-bye. So I was incentivized to not be a jerk.
Ultimately, everything and anything is got an incentive. Everything. You're going to eat. Your incentive is to survive. You have to eat to survive.
So,
right?
yes, but...
breathing, washing your hands, there's always an incentive. Putting your shoes on.
Yes, but some people are incentivized for much more. So,
of course.
If you are motivated to pay your bills, and you do, but what will motivate you to get to another level that you want? What is that? You don't have the hook yet.
There's a saying, man is not going to do anything until he has to. Something like that.
That's not a guy I want to be around.
Right.
Too little, too
But
late.
like when he has to, he'll do anything.
So it's interesting. Yana is motivated differently in some things than
Yes.
it's not. A lot of people, money and wealth is kind of their ultimate incentive. And Yana is someone who it's not presently her main objective.
What's your incentive?
To be closer to God.
And that's your ultimate incentive for anything you do.
My spiritual growth.
I get it though, right? I get it.
What did you get?
I understand that some people have different goals. Like, as you said, most of the people are incentivized by money and wealth, being able to pay their bills. But some people value spiritual growth more than anything else.
Right, but I think that it can lead to a great imbalance. I'm saying
Right.
that a pure spiritual, I mean, I don't want to go sit in a cave to be spiritual. It's not my thing. So there's some that would say, well, that's one way of being spiritual. For me, I would say some of the work that I do can be a part of my spiritual expression. And by the way, I do not think that being spiritual has to be paired with poverty. This is the big thing that I'm talking about, is that a spiritual person can be extremely wealthy monetarily, but it's not a greed thing. This is what the journey I'm on. My version of one expression of spirituality is to express this quantum aspect of the law of attraction and being vibrationally aligned with abundance. So Yana may be creating wealth for herself in a way that we just don't see. There could be a great synchronicity for her that's just not revealed that relieves her of the need to work a 9 to 5, 10 to 5.
4 days a week.
4 days a week.
Hey, I work 5 days a week. Just 4
Just
days
not
a
a-
week with
not-
you guys.
not with us.
Okay, all right.
That's the part about metaphysics that I really like so much, is that it's an individual journey. It's absolutely the opposite of what a cult is, because a cult, in my opinion, is somebody else asking you to buy in and support all of their philosophies, regardless of your needs, wants, curiosities. It's like, no, operate within these rules. Metaphysics is about you are your own rules, not like just this wild child, I mean, but a little bit. Spiritually wild, I mean, why not? You know, we talked about you can think poorly or you can think richly. If you're in a really noisy house, there's not a lot of room for your own moments. Noisy could be someone else's rules. Maybe there's a heavy, dominant energy in the house. It's just like, I got to get out of here, right? I can go where I can hear myself. And I would recommend that to anybody on a spiritual path. Go where you can hear yourself. And this is where the meditation comes in. This is what meditation is. My current understanding of what it's about is go where you can hear yourself. And it's not yourself, your own voice. It's your higher self, not the brain self. It's your higher self, your spiritual self. Maybe they've got to go to a cave for that, but I wouldn't want to get locked down in any one environment. My hope is that the things that I talk about with you guys and you guys talk about with me is in a year, maybe there's a different take on it. That would be pretty great. This is why when Katya and I sat down, I said, Katya, ask me the same question every week. And at some point, I will exhaust all of my creative ability to answer with my intellect. And maybe that will make room for me to sort of channel something else. It's like, where did that come from? Because I have a certain intellectual capacity, and I'm interested in putting that aside. And I feel like I got to exhaust it. I got to wear that kit out and then go, well, where did the energy come from now? What did I plug into? So that's my journey, and it's tied into abundance, because that kid that I wore out was the one who was making money with his hands, and I don't want to do that anymore. Wealth making, to me, is a part of my spiritual expression. This is why it's important to me not to accumulate a big power play wealth thing, but to be like, oh, I understood that mechanism. And if I don't, I don't. But currently, I'm 10 minutes into it. So that's where I'm at. And maybe I'll get to a point where it doesn't even matter. That's the part, it's individual. Yana has her own needs and wants and pleasures from her interpretation, her pursuit of spiritual growth. She finds great satisfaction from the words in the Bible. to me, I never thought to go there. Pasha, I don't know what you believe.
You know, I grew up in Russia. I believe in God and Christian Orthodox. I was conditioned as a kid to grow up in a certain environment where I believe a certain way.
Well, kids are conditioned.
Right. But now I'm opening up more to it, and I have, weirdly, a lot of people around me are some spiritual, some religious, some both, and they all have different takes to an extent, and it is now up to me what I want to believe, and I'm just slowly discovering it, I guess, in a way.
Well, I think it's great. Part of it is realizing that there is a menu. There was a thing this morning, had an obsessive thought, and I'm catching myself on those things more and more. And then this truck pulled up beside me, and it was a truck for flood and fire damage. Mm-hmm. There's a couple companies that come in and fix things. And in the back of it, it had this thing that said, as though it had never even happened. And I'm like, I would love to be able to let go of things to that point where I don't even notice the residual effects of that fire. And it's like, I'm the one that keeps freaking lighting the fire. I'm like, why do I do that? The people I'm in court with weren't in my car shouting at me. Mm-hmm. To me, that's part of the spiritual journey, is catching those patterns that just run quietly. And it could have gone on for 30 minutes, and then I'd be like, man, I just got to work. Why am I in a bad mood? Well, I just drank 30 minutes of poison that I didn't need to drink. Poison's a strong word, but I feel like I do that sometimes. What you give thought and energy to has a bit of a life to it.
Today is the 3rd of June.
I know.
And the planets are aligning in one line that you can see.
What does that mean?
I don't know.
The planets are aligned. I'm like,
cool.
can I take it to the bank, please? Is that planet?
Right.
Is that a generous planet or an angry planet? I don't know.
Could be anything. I guess it depends on what you manifest.
Someone said to me, I think it was Fran, she said, there's a point where you can step out of your astrological influence and you're no longer sort of shaped by it. I said, what do you mean by that? And so I'll point to the trees again here. This tree grows in a certain way, A, because of the type of tree it is, B, the soil conditions, C, it's going to go where it can get the light. So this tree is in its own little environment. And of course it's talking to its neighbor over here, and so they got a little thing going on. But that tree is influenced by those things. And what I understand about astrology is that when we're born, that we're imprinted, or we breathe in that alignment, the energetic alignment that is present with the planets. This is just what someone was saying. And so that is a very predominant condition. It's like, okay, this is what you got as a baseline.